Good morning, gang. I hope you are all doing well. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. It's the 2nd of July. I'm praying to God that this little thing here is working. I've noticed pretty much my sound on the videos aren't looking the best, or sorry, should I say, aren't sounding the best. So yeah, man, I've got this little microphone which flashes mad colors. So I've not done this to look a certain way. I've done this to try my best to basically give you guys a better audio for the YouTube. So before we get into this daily market outlook, I just want to mention that this content on the channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor and nothing shared here should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Always do your own research before making any financial decisions and understand that trading and investing involves risk and you should never risk more than you can afford to lose. So, with that being said, let's get straight into the charts and see what is going on today. I'm praying to God that I don't record this and no one can hear me. I guess it would be kind of funny, but yeah, man. But let's have a look at what is going on currently with Forex factor in, see what's what with the news today, because as you guys may or may not know, if you plugged into me this week, you'll know that we've got NFP, non-farm employment change tomorrow, which is at 2:30. Usually they are on Fridays, but for this month it is on Thursday. So tomorrow is NFP. So we can expect big volatility. Whereas today we have obviously just 2:15 US dollar news, which isn't the same as not as NFP. The proper NFP is tomorrow. So nothing else that we have to worry about apart from 2:15. 2:15, obviously US dollar news, which leads me straight back into the charts and we can analyze what is currently going on. So with that being said, if you guys remember yesterday, we specifically talked about this 1 hour area, which the market pretty much chilled in for quite some time. Pardon me. And then we did get some sort of movement away, and then we obviously shut up, and then obviously now heading up to here. But we did have this 1 hour demand area, which could have been a potential, and we did say, as you guys should know, if we break above, then of course we've got to look at the next supply zone. So if we just quickly go to the daily, what can we see? Pretty much the same. Nothing's really changed. You can see that our last pullback here is where we're now coming back into. So this daily supply candle. If we go to the 4, that aligns with the 4 hour candle. So the 4 hour supply candle, which we're interested in, is of course this 4 hour. So if you look at the trend that's going on, you'll be able to notice that this is our last lower high and lower low. This is our last range. So obviously looking at this, we have imbalance above. We've got all these highs that are being created pretty much here. So what I'm expecting the market to do for the dollar is I want to see this imbalance filled and potentially see the supply mitigated. So I'm expecting to see, coming into this for the US dollar for our perspective. So if that is the case, and if that's what happens, we could react from the imbalance, or we could mitigate the supply deep, or we could just basically mitigate the supply. That is what we're interested in. And if that is the case, we're going to get a punch up and then obviously a punch down to potentially go and break these lows. Now, that's what I'm interested in from a 4 hour perspective. But obviously, if we look at the 1 hour, what can we now notice? Well, if you look at the 1 hour, you'll be able to see that, of course, if you follow the trend that's going on, you'll be able to notice that the market was in a downtrend. Then we've had this now change of trend. So, of course, we are inside of this leg, which means that we could obviously see some sort of bullishness, carry on from here. But again, I'm not interested. I'm sitting on my hands. I took 2 losses yesterday, trying to sell trying to buy, I can't remember, buy your USD and USD CHF, I think it was. So I'm sitting on my hands and being patient because I didn't stick to my plan yesterday. I wasn't on the charts. I wasn't on the charts at all. I just had marked up and I was just like, yeah, it's going to react. And then obviously I got bit. Um, on the trades, but it is what it is. That is what we're paid to do, is to analyze what we did wrong and then to move away from there. So yeah, with NFP coming up, I'm just waiting to see how it reacts from this supply area. That leads me to Euro USD, which again, daily still bullish. The 4 hour range that we're currently in is from this higher low to this higher high. So pretty much the same scenario. We've got equal lows below here. So what I would like to see is we've got this imbalance below here as well. We've got a lot of that imbalance here. So I would just basically like to see, I would just basically like to see what we've been seeing quite a lot, where it's a dip and then go and create that new higher high. So from a technical standpoint, as you guys, it's a little bit different, but you guys will be able to notice on here where on the 1 hour, it's the same pattern. You create them lows, we then dip, fill in the imbalance, tap into the demand, and then we go. Same here. Create the lows, still have some imbalance, dip, tap into the demand, and then obviously go. So I'm expecting the same scenario with Euro USD. Now, of course, if I look at the 1 hour, what can we see? Well, for me personally, you can see that that was a 1 hour change of trend for me, and you can see that we're currently reacting out of this 1 hour supply. So obviously, right now, if we do expect the market to come in, down, we would just want to see probably a pullback into this supply candle to then obviously melt off. The supply candle I've been looking for personally would be this supply candle here. That'll be my 1 hour supply. So yeah, let's see if we can get that to potentially carry on downwards. But of course, we have to. I'm just going to be patient if I'm honest with you guys on here. I'm not even going to come in here and say, listen, it could change. I could see a nice setup and I could turn around and be like, yeah, I'm going for it. But as of right now, my head's saying just chill, stay off the charts, and obviously wait for the better setups. Wait to see if you can see how we react on this zone here. So that leads me on to GBP USD, where GBP USD is looking a lot, obviously, like a lot more uglier, if that is the word, than like EU. Whereas you can see there's not really a clear 4 hour range. I think it probably is more so now, which would be from this from this level here. Let me just move out of the way. From this level here to obviously the high, which is this high here. So we do have a 4 hour range. I'm gonna get rid of this. I was meant to say 1 hour. So yeah, we do have a 4 hour range, but of course, as you guys probably already know, we didn't mitigate this demand area below. So I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get that far down, but if we did, that would be a demand area to buy off. It depends on where the US dollar is going to react. If the US dollar is nowhere near the supply, and we are in this demand, then obviously we're not going to look for that. Whereas if the US dollars in this supply and GPU USD is in this demand and it's moving nicely, then of course you can sorry, in this demand, then you can move away. But if you look at the 1 hour, and by the way, you can see obviously all the imbalance below here, so it would be a valid reason why to come down. But if you look at the 1 hour, what can you notice? Well, you can notice that of course we still got some sort of little bit of imbalance here. Just I probably can't even do that properly. 1 second. There we go. Still got a tiniest bit of imbalance here. So, could we potentially see the market react from this? I'm not too sure. Again, everything it just depends on the dollar. Could we react from this to then go and carry on? We potentially could. 100%. But like I said, and I've just said it about 500 times, it depends where the dollar is. It really does depend where the dollar is. So I'm going to be patient and wait to see where the dollar is at when GBP USD gets below into that area, when it gets into this area. So yeah, we are creating them equal lows as well, waiting for early buyers. So it would make sense if we did do this, but again, let's be patient with that. Now, AUD USD, you can probably see that the patterns are pretty much the same. The patterns are happening very, very similar. I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger, just in case we take that long. So what I'll be waiting for now, let's get rid of this daily demand. You can see the 4 hour trend is from this low here to obviously the high that it has created, which would be this high here. So we can pretty much see a clear range, 4 hour range that's happening. So I'm only really interested in looking for, something like this area as of now. So for me personally, for AUD USD, we have this imbalance that's just above. As I always say, the market's after two things: to seek liquidity and to rebalance itself. And if there's an imbalance in the market looks to rebalance it. So what I would like to see is potentially, come into this area and then see that movement away. That's what I would like to see for AUD USD. Fill in this imbalance, take out these lows, and then tap into this demand. So understand that yes, you can refine your demand area as well to this candle. But I'm just being wary that we could potentially dip below and take out, take out this low here. So if that did happen, obviously, then and you had your stop loss right below the low, then of course you would be peed off. So just understand that we could, just come in and fill in and then go and not have to mitigate this area, this low, or we could dip lower. And that's why if you just want to be patient with waiting for reaction, obviously it'd be good enough just to have this as your whole demand area. So let's see what happens today. And obviously the rest of the week with this, we are moving down as we speak. So bit interesting. And then NZUSD is pretty much the same. NZUSD is very similar. As you guys can see, what is happening currently is I'm going to mark this out, same kind of area. Again, yes, you kind of have this as your whole demand if you want to refine it, but just for the newest person, wherever the imbalance starts to the low, you can mark that out. So as you guys can currently see, looking at NZUSD, we have, these lows that we're taking now, and we still have this imbalance here. So same scenario pretty much for all of the major pairs. We have this imbalance here. So, what I can potentially expect the market to, do is, can we see the market, if we're going to be bullish on the fall, can we see the market carry on from this area? Sorry, 1 second. The OCD is kicking in with these charts. 1 second. There we go. So can we see the same scenario where it's like AUD USD, where can we dip into this demand and then potentially see that? But obviously be aware that if we do deep lower, it will just be to attack the lows that we have here. It would just be to attack the lows that we do have here. So wait for the reaction from this area. That's what I would be doing personally. I'd be wanting to see obviously some sort of reaction, and then obviously aiming for them higher highs here. So let's see what happens going into today. Let's see what happens. But yeah, keep an eye out on that. If you guys are doing your own analysis, looking at the 1 hour just quickly, obviously it's very bearish. As you guys can see, we're reacting from this imbalance here. So again, same as your USD, you guys should know this anyway. If we're going to carry on, obviously, bearish, I'd want to see a pullback. I'd want to see a pullback, sorry, into around this area as a 1 hour supply, and then potentially go and carry that downwards. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, and then make a reaction from here. So that is for NZUSD. Now, USD CAD is interesting. And the reason USD CAD is interesting is because obviously it's not been the cleanest looking with these large wicks. But we have had that movement away from, this lower low here to create a new range. And we are currently in this 1 hour, 4 hour supply. This candle here is my 4 hour supply. So of course we've had a reaction from there right now. We've had a reaction from there right now, and we're currently just, coming back up. So, we can refine this if you want to like this 1 hour supply candle here, which is where the imbalance started. As you guys can see, the imbalance started here. So, the interesting thing now is, for me, obviously seeing how the dollar reacts, obviously, but then if we can get another break on this, and the dollar is doing the exact same, I would be interested personally in trying to obviously sell this, short this downwards, because this is for me the only other supply zone would be from up here. We have this one to be fair. But let's see. Everything again, I say it over and over again. I'm not just saying it for the fun of it. Everything is about the dollar. What is the dollar doing? Where is the dollar when you're trying to take a trade? Is the dollar aligning with your current situation or trade idea? If it's not, don't take it. Simple. Simple, simple. Dollar is the most important. So yeah, that leads me on to USD CHF, which is pretty much the same. We still need, for me personally, a deeper retracement. I'm still waiting for this supply zone to be mitigated. So, I would like this scenario to happen. We've also created, a couple of these equal highs as we speak. So, could we use that as liquidity? We've still got imbalance to fill here. So yeah, I would like to see the market react on this supply. That's what I would, firstly like. If we jump down to the one, we can obviously see the reason that we're moving upwards right now is because if you look at the trend that's happening, see that we had a mini pullback, then we carried on, then we broke above this high. Now we've come into this demand area where this imbalance was, and now we're slowly moving away. So, I don't know if anyone managed to see this scenario, but let me just break it down to you. We had the change of trend from this, what's going on here? Change of trend from this 1 hour here. And then we pulled back into where this imbalance started and this unmitigated 1 hour demand area. So obviously if someone was in this long from the 1 hour, let's say from the top, stop loss below the low, they would currently be around a 1 to 3. And that would be around a 1 to, oh, sorry, a 1 to 1.3. But yeah, that would be a decent trade. But again, very risky, very, very risky. And then, yeah, man, that leads me now on to USD Japanese yen, which USD Japanese yen is in quite a similar situation to the other, USD CHF and USD CAD. So what I mean by that? So what I mean by that is we have this unmitigated supply zone, and we also have this imbalance here, which has been unmitigated as well. So of course we're close to that now. What I would like to see the market do is, again, just see if we can get that reaction from here to go and target these lows. We have pretty much created them equal lows almost, should we say, that we could potentially look to, target, or even just here. So we have created pretty much some sort of liquidity below. So could we see this happen? That would be one scenario that I would be looking for personally, going into USD Japanese yen. Other than that, I'm not interested in anything else. This is probably one of them scenarios where you're like, oh, is that it? It is what it is, man. Like I ain't rushing around the charts, especially after losing 2 trades yesterday. I ain't rushing around to try my best to just force a trade. If that's what you guys want to do, you guys can do that, of course. You're in control of your trading plan. But for me, I'm just going to be patient. Going to be patient, see if we can get up into this supply, and then see what we can do from this area. So yes, other than that, guys, as always, please feel free to, drop a like, a comment, and everything else in between. If you guys want to make sure that you subscribe to the channel, you've got your notifications turned on, that would be massively, massively appreciated. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow for NFP. Take care. Have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. God bless.